There we go.
Hello, Colonel.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the SDC here in the midst of Season 24 semifinals. We are getting ready to roll for our second day, starting things off Game 4. Brown Clover currently lead the series 2-1. Additionally, for today, Brown Clover have used Fearless Mode perk. It will last from Game 4 through Game 7, and we are playing Fearless drafts for the day. Any character we see played will not be played again. And while we have a couple of our bands on screen, we have gotten to our first picks already. Brown Clover, Seraphine, Crusaders, thinking between Ambessa and Zeri.
Yeah, the picks that you're seeing on the screen are correct. The rosters are not. Give me a second. That's on me. I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah, we'll get that fixed up in a second. We do get Zeri Yumi picked in for the side of the Crusaders, so we'll see exactly how that will go for them. Again, Game 4 rosters right now, we'll have to hold on to make sure we can get all of that updated, but like mentioned, the characters obviously will stay correct. For what it's worth in terms of bans, we do have Hui, Pantheon, Poppy, Jinx, Caitlyn, Bard getting taken off the table today for our first game, as we'll see Kaisa Seraphine get locked into the bot lane to play against that Zeri Yumi. So already quite a lot of early commitment down to this bot lane. Seraphine, I suppose, can always roam or flex over to that mid lane, but for the moment, just expecting this to be the double bot, and then Brown Clover blind the Aatrox.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm focused on a couple things at the same time, but the draft is drafting. Yumi, disgusting, vile creatures. But Kaisa Seraphine, are not like a typical bot lane that you'd see together. To be fair, but okay, that makes way more sense. Actually,
Okay,
Kaisa
yeah.
not is something you would see together. That does put the Seraphine elsewhere, though, and I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I suppose at this point it's just going to be locked into that blind Seraphine mid here for the side of Drifting. Playing against Eisenhower, 18 points, I believe, so a bit of a difference there, but we'll see how it ends up going. Syndra going to be the counter pick there for the side of the mid lane as obviously, we'll try and make sure to get everything picked up here. Again, worth noting, actually, there is a hide player thrown into the
That must be
mix
it.
here being used by the side of the Crusaders. So somebody is hidden, presumably, I suppose maybe it's actually Elegance in the mid lane. We saw him play that position twice yesterday in games 1 and 2. So obviously, we'll wait and see exactly who is getting hidden. Technically, well, we expect to see Eisenhower top lane, Zap heals our bot lane with Elegance mid. So probably expecting to see a jungler, fiery, counter, and sovereign have been the three that have played the position for them so far, but we'll have to wait and see as we do get Ornn and Aatrox banned away, and then we'll move into the second set of our final bans here to see what it will be. Sion taken off the table, so a bit of top priority from the side of the Crusaders for presumably Eisenhower. Again, there is obviously still a little bit of a variety available. Eisenhower is queued top mid, Zap is queued onto bot mid, Elegance can play into bot as well, so a lot of people that can be moved around depending on who this last player is, but definitely wouldn't be surprised for it to just be one of their 3 junglers, as Ambessa picked up on 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to have a look actually. I don't know if anyone who's playing this right now actually can play jungle. So I think it
No,
absolutely
they
must
cannot.
be a jungler.
Yep. Yeah, they
Um,
have 3 junglers on roster, none of whom are shown in this game.
exactly. So whether it's the tier ones or Fiery Sovereign or tier two encounter, we know it's going to be one of them. We also therefore know that it's going to be quite a decent point advantage as well, actually, for the Crusaders in game number 4. Not something that they will despise, bearing in mind they are down 2-1 in the overall series. They're going to need to get a win here in games such as this, especially where they're using a couple of extra perks. Um, Something I guess that is important to point out is that we have very few games left for other perks. If we have 2 vanillas to be used throughout the rest of the series, you imagine game 5, game 6 be the vanillas, and then game 7 could be absolute chaos, or it could be a different way around, right? Whenever the vanillas aren't used, we're going to get some additional bans coming through. We're going to get steal ban, prevent ban, and a force roll as well from Crusaders. That there being the operative perk yet to be played, as we have just raced through the rest of the draft. Okay, Ambessa top into the Darius. That's going to be explosive. And then Nocturne against Graves. Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested to see. I mean, again, like right, we see Crusaders lock in Graves on 10. We have to assume this is going to be Sovereign coming in on the jungle to play that Graves. I mean, there's again, it can go other ways, right? It could go to Fiery. I think they both play the character. I'm not 100% sure counters entire jungle pool, of course, but maybe it can go for it as well. At the end of the day, Graves is like a simple jungler. It's a common jungler, I feel, for a lot of these committed jungle players to play into, but we'll have to see for the moment here exactly who this last player is going to be, but obviously, in terms of character positions, fortunately, there shouldn't be too much flexing that we have to worry about. Everything looks pretty stock standard.
Yeah. In terms of what's going where, absolutely. Seraphine mid is a little bit odd, but not something that's all too crazy. At the end of the day, it's still a mage in the mid lane, and it's something that drifting, I'm sure, will be able to pilot very effectively. Um, the real question really is, who is that Graves for the Crusaders? Because right now, if we ignore the fact that Elegant's on there twice, they have 76 points. If it's counter, then that will head up to 99. If it's fiery or if it's sovereign, then suddenly we're looking at like 109, 110, playing at 62. Obviously, they can't change what they put in because it's a hidden player. They can't just suddenly change it afterwards. It is already known to some people, just not us, who that final jungler is. But whoever it is going to have one hell of a task to do here on the Graves. There's a lot of setup for them. Even looking down towards bot
Yeah.
lane, you might not feel like there's quite as much with the Yumi lane, but especially in mid, you got Scatter the Weak to set up plays, you have Ambessa to position, and also to ultimate, to lock down that Darius potentially on the top side. It's a lot of this down to, I feel like, that jungler in particular to make the solo queue jungle work, because it's not a given that a solo queue jungle will have full value, right? A lot of the time, now, I in particular don't like seeing the Graves because it doesn't always fit into your team and what your team wants to do. Maybe Crusaders look back in this and say, we really could have done with some sort of bruiser to start and engage off, because that is where they're lacking, right? Ambessa Syndra is not exactly a fight starter. Enchanted support not going to help things out. At least from a Brown Clover point of view, they can start a team fight with their Nautilus and they can commit with the Kai'Sa, with the Nocturne. They just need a good Darius flank and we're there. Crusaders might struggle a little bit, but at the same time, because it's such a strong solo queue jungler, you should be looking to really punish these lanes and run through the game before the team fights even matter.
I do think it'll be a bit interesting because when I look at this Brown Clover comp, right, you see Kaisa Nocturne obviously very heavily focused on dive, not Seraphine and Darius. And obviously, again, right, Darius and Seraphine, if they get a perfect situation, can hit big ults, big pulls, big AoE. But at the end of the day, it really feels like this comp is extremely good at focusing down one or two key players, which generically would be better against something like Triple Tank or Double Tank Enchanter. And obviously, you have some bruiser picks in the side of Ambessa. You have Yumi enchanting, but there's still a lot of damage on this comp, so it's going to be very difficult to isolate one person, execute them with all of our dive and single target things like maybe the Nautilus combos and all of that stuff that really wants to hammer down one person and shut them down. But no matter who you pick, you're still going to have three people that are just absolutely wailing on you. And Brown Clover, the two tankier members here aren't that high damage. Obviously, if Darius goes 10 kills, sure, he's going to be an absolute terror on the Rift, but if you can kill the Kaisa quickly, there's not going to be that much sustained damage. I know it's going to be the AP Seraphine, so maybe some problems there for some of those squishier targets for the side of Brown Clover. But again, obviously, I do think, like you mentioned, right, this Graves, that solo queue mentality is definitely going to have a lot of the swing on this early game, which obviously, as always, transitions quite a lot into the actual mindset of getting into a lot of these mid-game fights, trying to see who has more gold, who has the better positions. But if this Graves can take over the early game, I could definitely see this game going to the Crusaders.
Yeah, I think I can get alongside you with that one, as the Hydra player has run its course. Sovereign has been revealed. The roles will mix about. They were just the order they were given on the game day sheet. So ignore that. We'll work out what's going where. We'll work out, of course, who is joining with Sovereign, making it a very formidable roster, as we said, for the Crusaders, up by 47 points in game number 4. Not necessarily must-win territory, but about as
Yeah.
close as it gets in a best-of-7 series. You lose this, you got to win 3 in a row, and you lost a game up 50 points. You don't
Yeah.
typically come back from that.
I think this is definitely getting toward that territory. If they lose this game, they're gonna be wading into a vanilla roster of, I mean, realistically, what? Yagin, Riddy, Lost Zero, K3, Bossim. I guess I'd probably drop one of the ADs there between Lost Zero and Boston. Maybe move one of them mid, but then you'd have to drop K3. But maybe one of the tier 3 supports of Data and Justin with it. So there's going to be a very scary execution roster waiting for Brown Clover if they can win this game. But again, for the moment, we just have to see if they will be able to take this game down, make it 2-0, make it 2-2, bring us to that game 5 at an even position. But we'll just have to wait and see here as we let our players get things ready to go, get that lobby set up and started here. We'll send things back over to a little bit of a break. We'll be back 5-6 minutes here with our first game of the SDC day here for game 4 of the semifinals. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back here. Game number 4 of the semifinals. Currently a 2-1 lead as already some early action is drifting away. Gonna take a couple Graves autos, miss a Q, get a ping on a ward. Not too much craziness going on. Get the quick scan there for the ward on the side of Sovereign here on that Graves. We'll see how things go as we actually get this game started here. The tiny bit of poke shouldn't mean too much for either the Graves or the Seraphine here as we get things underway here. His first strike for the Syndra, gonna try and get some early gold here against this Seraphine mid, but what do you think, Rue, who's taken home first blood?
Ooh, first blood in this one.
Who's getting it?
I can see it being somehow the Zera Yumi lane. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels like it's about right. I feel like Eisenhower
Sure.
pays enough respect to a Darius, even if it doesn't always look like it. Karma doing a decent job up there on the top side. I feel like it's going to be Zap somehow.
Yeah, we'll see if that does end up being the case. Justin and Bosm already taking a bit of damage, but they are level 1, so nothing going to be too punishing here in the earliest portions of our bot lane. Obviously, no notable gaps aside from the Mbessa yet to find their first CS here, getting zoned a bit by Darius, as well as obviously the bit of a slower start here. Hasn't actually seen too many minions die, obviously, but has been getting zoned quite aggressively still, yet to get one. Similar problem for Zeri down bot, yet to find the first 5. Gonna finally get the wave crashing under tower to get a few more as Eisenhower gonna desperately need to farm this CS under tower very, very well to keep things even in lane. Again, he's down 9, a wave and a half right now, but it doesn't actually matter if he can CS this well under tower, but we'll see what the CS number comes out to here in 20-30 seconds once the wave is gone. Darius gonna go for a quick recall here. Got that quick shove, quick cheater buy, get maybe a quick long sword, cloth armor, tier 1 boots, whatever it is he decides. Yeah, it'll be the boots here. Once that extra move speed is Ambessa seemingly doing a decent job on the CSing there, getting it back up to a pretty close game before Darius's return. Likely will still be down by just a little bit, but again, not too big of a gap as Justin sat on a ward trying to get onto Zap. Quick dash dodges away.
Yeah, pretty slow early game, all things considered. Karma does find that cheater recall as you mentioned, but doesn't really achieve all too much in the grand scheme of things. A little bit of a slow clear coming through from Yols. Very rarely see a clear last this long. Okay, 3 or 5, 3 or 6. Still just finishing Krugs now. So that gets that crab as we get a nice hook on bot side.
Yeah, Zap gonna get pretty low. The Ignite gonna trick it down from Justin, but they're able to save all their summoners for the moment at least, which could be worse as Yule's in the area to try and help pressure onto the scuttle, but we'll get smited away from him and not able to force anything meaningful here for this side. We'll see what Nocturne wants to do. Just going to get a quick reset. Not thrilled about being double crabbed here, but not obviously much that he can actually do about the current predicament. Gets the recall. Dirk for Graves, double longsword for Nocturne. Obviously, again, not thrilled about that little bit of a negative gap for Yoles, but again, not really anything to be done. He got double crabbed, is what it is it'll be Graves looking down bot, moving toward Gromp for the moment, but we'll have to be a bit careful for Bossum and Justin, even with their ward.
Yeah, I do wonder how that clear was so slow though. Like Nocturne is not a champion that has a typically slow clear. That came in kind of the 310 mark, headed down to the river. A very good punish, absolutely, from Sovereign to get down in time to smite that away. But that should never have been that close. Yol should have been there at the 3 minutes at the slowest. That's just like I don't know what happened in that first clear, but something went drastically wrong for the Nocturne, and you can really see its knock-on effects now start to come through. Sovereign, after taking his 2 bot camps, is now level 5. Yol's still level 4, and we all know how important that early level 6 on Nocturne can be.
And we'll see exactly which way it is going to go right now. CS-wise, we're doing pretty good for everybody. Ambessa's back to within a wave. Graves is still up his 8 or so from his double crab. Not obviously a big surprise here. Will invade toward the Raptors. Not going to find anything too meaningful here. Recall comes through. Nautilus is moving over. This could be a bit of a problem if they rush at Graves, but doesn't look like it'll be the play. He'll just hold the back while Nocturne waits for the Krug respawn. Syndra, really the biggest gap in the lobby right now. About 2 waves ahead of Seraphine, and no, it does get that cannon there, it looks like, so not bad by any means. We'll get a ward into Raptors from Elegance, who again, doing a pretty good job in this mid lane, aside from Darius, who is regrowing that CS lead up top lane with a bit more zoning. Definitely the most dominant performance right now in lane, most CS in the lobby, and the biggest lead. As again, Kaba getting his own lead back up top lane, but Sovereign could be looking for the first big punish of the game for the first blood here. Darius engaging in. Eisenhower hits 6, execution comes through. Sovereign coming in, it'll be the flash ghost from Kaba, and that is an expensive escape from the gank, but at the end of the day, if that's what it takes to not give up first blood to the enemy main carry, then that's kind of what you have to do.
Yeah, I mean, yes, to a certain degree. If that's what it takes, then absolutely you must do it at that point. But it's just the timing of the aggression that's a little bit unfortunate. Doesn't realize where Sovereign is on the map. It's played a little bit tricky, taking that base headed up to the Krugs, taking the second base, very awkward as we're going to get another fight. This is dangerous.
Yeah, I was going to get quite a bit of CC. There goes Sovereign, first to blood for drifting in the mid lane here. And that is not what you want to see if you are this Crusader side here. Going to be 6-point drifting, getting that first kill out. Well done there for him. We'll see if that'll help him out in this mid lane matchup that has been a little bit sour for him so far. Still going to be down a bit of gold even after, as Eisenhower playing on Takaba, but that's stacks are maxed up for Darius, and we unfortunately flash after the ult, and so we bleed to death for Eisenhower. Have to just commit to the fight and save your summoners at that point, but it is Darius a moment. Gets the kill here. We'll see how much more of the wave he can clear out. He's pretty much 0 HP, 0 mana, and Ambessa has teleport, so he knows he has to take a recall here without a teleport of his own. Do get that Ambessa teleport, so even though Darius gets the kill, he might actually end up losing just about as much here, because he's going to miss a wave or so.
And that is the difference in having TP. But the difference also coming through from getting the kill in the first place, very, very important. Kaba did a good job committing to that fight. The Noxian Guillotine doing precisely what it says on the tin, chopping Eisenhower's head off before he can properly get going. The flash away afterwards, as you pointed out as well, just a little bit misguided, unfortunately, from the Ambessa. Once you're in that type of situation, you just have to keep on fighting. And unfortunately, doesn't quite commit to it this time around. Ends up going down anyway because you were going to die as soon as he presses R. When you get that low, no matter how much healing or whatever else you think you may have as any champion, you just super dead to the bleed. Somehow the execute didn't grab him, but didn't matter in the end. Carbot takes that kill. Could have maybe been a 1-for-1 in a different universe, but unfortunately not this one here for Eisenhower, as the rest of the game is still somewhat even. A lot of it is based off of the CS that's happened across the Rift. We see somehow zaps up 2 waves worth on this Kai'Sa Naught. Obviously, there's a wave coming in under the tower, but that is still extremely odd to witness in a lane like this where you have Nautilus into anything, especially a Yuumi, where there's only one good target, sure, but if you hit that target, you are absolutely in with everything you could possibly want. Aftershock would keep Justin very safe when that hook lands, but he just needs to find it at some point in this lane. Appears he hasn't been able to really get anything going from that perspective. And as such, Zap's got a decent lead, and then we head back up to mid as well, where you pointed out before, Elegance still up in gold after losing out that first blood to Drifting, who, to be fair, it wasn't even Elegance's fault. It's the jungler who ended up dying, and Sovereign's looking to try and make up for that mistake.
We'll get Kaba here, gonna be just taken down. Shirley's will be the kill there for Sovereign. Plays aggressive on the Darius, but again, unfortunately, gonna get punished for it. Unfortunately, again though, this time he does not have those summoners that he was able to use to keep himself on his feet the last go around. As we'll get Bossum, Justin, back toward the bot lane, looking for some heavy aggro with the side of Yols and Drifting in the local area. It's full HP, full sums, full ults for Zap and Healzer, but we'll see if they want to look for it. Drifting away, walking forward, Q comes in, Zeri ult comes out, so it's a very cheap play in terms of what ends up happening. Zeri ult costs just the Seraphine Q, but the map costs of it going to be quite notable here. Syndra gets some waves mid, a couple of some plates there. They are going to 4-player steal this Gromp away, which doesn't feel awesome for the Graves of Sovereign, but does have to burn a smite on it as they do start up a dragon. Syndra TP mid, Graves on his wolves at the moment. Doesn't look like they're wanting to contest this without some of the things they use there. Syndra is a bit slow, Zeri has no ult, so
They're looking.
looking like they're considering going for it here toward the tail end. It will go down, secured for the Nocturne. Ult comes out, Paranoia, Kai'Sa diving onto the backline, and this is what I talked about, a lot of the single target damage, but there's no one to help this Graves out here. He gets hit by the Kai'Sa ult, the not ult. Elegance trying to back away as well, able to back himself with Scatter. Zap from behind, though. Gonna have quite a lot of support to close these kills. Justin will become the primary target because that Seraphine, there's no way to go, but Elegance walks back in. He was out, but greeted, didn't go far enough or walked back in one way or the other. Gives the kill back over to Drifting. Will get dispatched by Zap like we knew he would, but again, really, really greedy to go for Elegance to go back in, try and close that Seraphine down. Maybe Drifting as well could have tried to teleport to base to get out, hide behind the Wolves Pit maybe after the kill, but either doesn't think about it or decides it's not worth it and would rather have that teleport to get back to lane. But the biggest winner of the whole engagement, this Zeri there, 3-0 now, has the most CS in the lobby, beating out his own Syndra. Done with first item, 30-some stacks off the coal here, so definitely in a nice spot to try and start taking this game over with the Graves, but obviously we'll wait a few more minutes for them to truly get freed out of the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, the big winner out of all of that really is the Zeri, though. Zap,
Yeah.
a profiteer, if ever there was one, for such a dangerous play, especially from Elegance, to still make it so positive as Sovereign. This is also dangerous, my friend.
Yeah, we'll have him just going down here. Kaba gonna get that slam, and he's gonna chase Eisenhower. Flash
Okay.
W, transfer the full stacks. Q comes in to heal him up. Gonna be publicly executed, though. He's just gonna go down surely here. Nocturne trying to get in, flashing out of the Darius Q, goes in. The passive is burned out.
He didn't
Kaba
press R.
goes down, and it feels like Eisenhower can probably get this takedown onto it. It gets the wave as well as Darius. Yeah, he should have had that extra cast of ultimate after
He had it, he
executing
just didn't use
Sovereign,
it.
but he just doesn't go for it. I feel like the second you max stack, you can almost immediately send it onto Eisenhower and wait for the Nocturne to get there, but instead doesn't use it, doesn't wait, just gets taken out. Yul's forced to run home. He knows he probably can't take down Eisenhower in a 1v1, so it's just going to be some free gold here on the exchange. Sovereign goes down, Eisenhower goes down, Kaba then Eisenhower getting the takedown onto Kaba as we'll look bot lane. Zap going to get slammed by some point and click CC, exhaust onto Kai'Sa. Nocturne is here, and there we go. Flash E over the wall for a very, very swift escape from Zap. Sovereign runs down to help make sure nothing happens in the interim after, but won't see any action after the quick escape from Zeri.
Yeah, I mean, a very quick escape, but it almost proves why that type of escape wasn't really necessary. As Sovereign, you are a greedy, greedy
Kills the
man.
whole
You're a
camp.
nasty man. Yols did not
All right.
deserve that. Yols just wants to exist. He wants to just get a Stride Breaker, which, to be fair, should have probably been purchased by this point in the game. That Paranoia, so difficult to get to work onto a Zeri. There's no secondary target either to Paranoia onto, with it being a Yuumi in the lane. Honestly, that almost felt like an over expenditure by Zap and heals it in the bot lane because you're playing Zeri. You just need to hop over one little wall and you're instantly safe. It's one ability for everything that came your way. The fact that you also spent 3 summoners means that it's still a somewhat worthwhile venture from Brown Clover, even though it doesn't necessarily feel great. And Yols uses another version of his ultimate without getting the value that he was really looking for. It's still a reasonable play to get 3 summoners out of the 4. I feel like Zap just could have walked. Maybe barrier if you absolutely need to, but like just walking would have probably kept him safe there.
And yeah, we are going to have to see which way it is going to go. Back in this top lane here, Eisenhower and Kaba within a single CS of each other here. As we'll get Sovereign moving in, but almost doesn't even need to be here. Eisenhower gets the solo. Yols is here as well, though. He's just going to get dived here. The tower low HP, himself low HP. Eisenhower taking a bit of extra tower damage here. Sovereign trying to clear the wave from behind. Could still go for this play if they want to. We'll see exactly what level of activity and greed they go for. Graves, yeah, you see him cancel that back. You see the state Yols is in. Cancels the back, sees the tower. This is going to be a death here for the Nocturne. Unfortunate for Yols. Yules, maybe more of a misplay than fortune, but regardless here, I'm not necessarily sure what he can actually do to get out there. Maybe a bit greedy holding the back as long as he did, but again, is going to be the quick takedown here. Currently 8 kills to 5, 4.6k gold in favor of this Ambessa, Graves, and Zeri here, who have again been continuously getting stronger. So if they can start turning this into dragons, into maybe the dragon and the Rift Herald here, they could definitely be in a good spot to try and grow through this mid game to secure this game. But obviously we'll have to see it. Definitely don't think we're over yet, but Kaisa definitely needs more gold than we currently have for Bossum.
Yeah, well, everyone honestly needs a lot more gold than they currently have for Brown Clover, right? It's a lack of funds everywhere that's doing them in. It's honestly surprising to see how much this gold lead has grown as we get another play. It's a Zeri! What is the plan?
We can rotate this into Sovereign, though. There's not really any support for him on this Dragon, so despite being what should be the stronger team right now, they're going to lose a second Dragon in a row because they just have to use too much before they can't rotate back in and actually get this fight in a good spot. So it is just going to be another Dragon lost. Can't be too thrilled about that here from this side. Second Mountain Dragon going over at the cost of just the grubs. They couldn't even flip Herald for it, so we'll see obviously some top prio right now with Sovereign running toward Kaba, dashing in here. Q comes out, we'll get the hit, and Best of Public Execution comes in, and we should have the quick drop on to Darius. There he goes, taken out for the third kill onto this Ambessa, as the bot lane of Zap and Heals are going to take down their bot tier 1 as well, secure the second tower of the game in a row, as we'll see a quick combo onto Seraphine. Elegance doing quite a bit of damage at this point, as really some nice gold leads here as well for their side. 2k for Ambessa, about 1200 for Sovereign, 700 for Elegance. Zap is up another 900. Even the Yumi is up about 60 gold here. Obviously pretty negligible there, but
After control ward.
they
Very
do.
important,
They have the gold lead in every position right now, yet they're still losing dragons.
Yeah, I mean, losing dragons, sure, but it has its compensation, right? Eventually, the Rift Herald is taken. They do have to be careful keeping this area alive. The TP is going to come through.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the most burst damage onto Zap here. They're going to try and flee him. Nocturne comes in. The Zeri will go down, but we can support Eisenhower here. Takes down Kaisa. Justin 100% will die. Yoel's going to get ran at. Flash from the Syndra. Forces Flash from the Nocturne, but he's not out quite yet. This bot tower isn't here, so Yoel's going to need quite a bit more support. Scatter comes through, puts him to the wall, and Bess is here to grab the kill. Triple kill for Eisenhower. 6-1-2 here, and it is continuing to be a pretty nice position for this Crusader side, who again really do, it feels, need to win this game to not lose in like maybe game 6. So definitely nice to see them getting back into this game. Still not necessarily a perfect series position to be in regardless, but again, if you don't win this game, you are going to be in a much worse spot. As for Kaba, going to get a little bit of gold back top lane in the form of plates, but the freshly purchased 6-1-2 Ambessa has returned, and that will be a quick fall for the side of Kaba's Darius.
Yeah, and again, it's the public execution landing. I feel like that's been a theme of this game. We haven't really touched on it so much, but I feel every single time Eisenhower has pressed his ult, he's landed it. And that is so rare to see, at least in August of 2026. If you said that in like January or February, I'd be like, yeah, sure. Ambessa ult is very difficult to dodge. But in this current month, like, all it takes is a sidestep. It's an ability that a lot of people have figured out how to get around because there is enough time to react and move away. Kaba, it seems, has been unable to follow the footsteps of most other players, and that's really coming to his detriment right now. 7 kills for Eisenhower. Of course, 3 happening there in the bot side, but there's 4 that haven't, and there's 5 deaths as well to Kaba's name. And he's also getting destroyed in terms of the overall wave state as well. Look at the XP difference. It's level 15 on this Ambessa compared to a level 12 Darius. It's a stat checker that's getting outstatted. You can't play the game like this.
And yeah, we'll have Sovereign getting harassed a bit, but he has so much damage and sustaining. We'll just kite backwards here and threaten out Yules to half HP on this Nocturne. Not thrilled for the Nocturne here, but for the record does have at least 90 seconds to the Drake, so not like he is in immediate danger of losing out on objectives, but mid tier 2 being harassed down by Zap. That'll get tagged to just 3 plates remaining, as Zap bit of a -1 on the E value, but could still get out here. Doesn't actually matter at all here. Just a tiny time loss there. Could have mattered if you got jumped on and didn't have the E, but again, didn't happen, so not a big problem. Rotates back around the mid wave, gets back onto it. Sovereign clearing up, trying to recharge into this CS lead. Look at this, getting close to a flame horizon over Yols here. 197 to 116, up currently 81 CS to the side of Yols. Not something you love to see from your jungler, but I suppose at the same time, Sovereign is worth a couple more points than the side of Yols here, as well as obviously the extra note of Yules being here got, I suppose, technically counterpicked, right? Graves was the R10 here. Maybe he was more focused on hiding that pick to try and bait some misplays maybe in the draft, but it was the last pick counter here.
It was, but there's no reason for it to be doing quite as well as it is. I feel like it's been a lot of missed CS, or missed timings, as Basim's looking for a timing.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only timing he needs to be concerned about is 33 seconds here as he takes a quick tumble. Double kill for Zap, 5, 1, and 2. That'll be the Dragon, and truthfully, probably the point where we start to see this game just completely fall apart here. If they get to the point where it's going to become a problem, which it won't, that'll be a 40-minute problem, but we will see the 4-2 reverse drag sweep at this point. Very, very likely that this game is just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse until it's ended here. I can't see a great way back into it right now. Kai'Sa is their main DPS dealer, and she is the complete opposite of a threat right now. Kraken Rageblade Blasting Wand, just not far enough in the curve here to stay threatening. As there we go, Kaba, he got out of one by walking forward into Sovereign, which still just leads to his death, but he dodged an Ambessa R in all definitions of it. Yols here going on in, gonna try and get this very long Seraphine ult, just barely misses wide on Zap, as we'll get the scatter. Sovereign walking up, Justin hooks into him here, but again, he's just so tanky on this. Graves getting all of those lovely passive bonuses, the boots bonuses. Will maybe die to the tower. No, heal comes through from Yuumi. Don't necessarily even think he needed it to live, but not gonna complain about it here as Yols.
That was interesting.
That's a kill for the Yuumi. Hey,
it
man,
is a kill
plus
for
one
Yuumi.
heals her.
That was...
I don't know what Nocturne was doing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he misclicked it. He obviously didn't.
Well,
but...
I think this has been something like it's been a bit emblematic of the whole game, though, especially from a Yol's point of view. It's knowing where you can be at what time, and a lot of it has come down to clear speed as well. Like, Graves is a champion known for his fast clear speed, absolutely, but Nocturne's not exactly got a slow one, and it's just been a massive difference in terms of like actual like mechanically jungling the game that has grafted this lead out for Sovereign. Obviously, now it's at the phase of the game where you can just permanently invade. You can exist wherever you want because you are items ahead of your opponents. But the mechanism by which Sovereign got to this point in the game is just through cleaner clears and better pathing than Yol's. And it's resulted in a humongous discrepancy in the jungle. Look at the XP diff across the board. It's not just in jungle that it's happened, but there is a 5-level lead in jungle.
And yeah, we'll hold on for the moment as...
Oh, you're down 5 levels. What are you doing?
I mean, that's... I think
that's got to be
have an investigation.
That's got to be
That is not a great one. It's Kaba dodges another Ambessa ult. Holy moly!
Did he dodge that?
Seraphine ult goes through 4. Zap, though, gonna take down Kai. That was a dodge. You can't tell me that
he wasn't even
dodge.
close to hitting it. Is it a dodge if you weren't gonna hit?
Aimed at Darius, and it did not connect.
Was it aimed at the Darius? That's what I'm contesting.
I think it was closer to the Darius than the other one, which means it was aimed at Darius. Was it close to Darius? No. Could he have gotten it without flashing? Probably not. But he certainly didn't get hit by it. As we'll get the quick team fight win here. Everybody except for Yols currently dead because he's so low level that he has no respawn timer. Yeah, I mean, again, right, it's like we have a 7-point player playing jungle, and he's losing the game. Right, it is what it is. He's 7 points.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens. You're playing against Sovereign, one of the best junglers in the league, and he is playing one of the characters he's the most comfortable with on an R10, and his Ambessa's doing well, and his Zeri's doing well, and his Syndra's doing well, and his Yuumi's doing well, so it's just kind of one of those games where you say, yeah, that one sucks, 2-2 series, let's look at Game 5.
I think that is the overall narrative we have to take from this, right? It's that this is not by any means the end of the series. This is just a means to an end. if you will,
Yeah.
as Eisenhower somehow that's an execute, a filthy way to end the game with one final ace. The game explodes, 19k gold lead. I mean, we can talk about the many different factors in this game, but the ones that matter are the point discrepancy overall, the point discrepancy in the jungle, and the fact that this is the expected result, right? This was always meant to be the series tire from a Crusaders point of view.
Yeah.
This was always meant to be the one that brought them back into contention. If they lost this, it would have been so difficult to get back into the series. They'd have had to win an absolute fiesta, I'm sure. But now they put themselves into a position where yeah, they are primed to continue as they have started in this series, and it's just now effectively a best of three. We got 10 bans already chucked in as well for the day. We got two more vanillas to play, and then one game of chaos with I'd assume six additional bans, courtesy of Round Clover's 2+1s, a couple of prevents, which would be very useful for Crusaders, a force roll that'll be fun. And a cheeky little steel ban as well. The two vanillas really sticking out in terms of normality, I guess, compared to what we just saw there, where that was an abnormal game of Stomp. But now we just have to look forward to this best of three and see who the better team in this very short sample size is going to be.
And yeah, we'll have to see again, like you mentioned, who it is going to be. Again, worth noting, we are playing Fearless today due to the perk brought in. So things like that, Graves, we're not seeing it again. It's banned for the rest of the day permanently. They can't play Graves again. So again, we'll have to wait and see exactly how it is going to go in that nature. If we do, again, right, some of these characters, we're not seeing Syndra again. We're not seeing Ambessa, Nautilus, Seraphine. A lot of these are common characters that get played in a lot of drafts, but won't be seeing them again for the rest of the on-stream semi-finals here. But we'll have to wait and see what our future drafts look like once we get them rolling in. We're going to send things back to a break, let some perks, presumably of vanilla maybe, get used, and then we'll be back for Game 5 draft of the Season 24 semi-finals. Alrighty, welcome back everybody. Here for Game 2's draft, we are getting things underway. Quick vanilla was used, nothing too surprising. We get on in, our bands are, first off, all 10 characters from Game 1, as even though we have a vanilla, that Fearless is a day perk, so it will stay online regardless of the vanillas. So Game 1 characters, all banned, all 10 of them from both sides. Samira, Vayne, Viego, Karma, Olaf, and Kha'Zix gonna join the list of bans, and then we'll get Ziggs on 1 by the Crusaders, Lucian on 1 by Brown Clover.
Yeah, you said Samira, and suddenly my brain did like a mental reset. I was like, oh, that is Samira. Yeah, I guess Lost Zero carries that much aura. He gone as a Samira ban in 2026.
Yeah.
Okay, fair play. I didn't anticipate that one, as it's gonna be Silas taken alongside very early rotation for a Silas. I actually do wonder if that where that's going. Is that like a Ritty jungle type thing, or is that gonna be something drifting tries to take into mid lane?
Yeah, we'll have to see which it is going to opt toward Lucian Silas here, as I would expect it to be Silas mid just for second one, but with Galio coming in, definitely wouldn't surprise me if they want to start considering some flexes, maybe grab an AD mid, maybe even send something like that Lucian mid. Obviously a little bit unorthodox, but anything to get a better matchup, so we'll wait and see exactly what we're going to get here as Kindred on 3. We are getting into the pocket.
Yeah, that is a fiery slam. If ever I saw a fiery slam pick.
Yeah.
Straight in there on 3, locking in the Kindred does give a ton of value now to this Silas, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. I think if he's happy to pick a Silas when there's just a Zig showing, giving him Galio, giving him Kindred is a lot more than he really earned. Ari chosen on 3 here is also interesting in a different direction. Brown Clover destroying that Silas flex instantly, saying, yeah, you already knew that it was Ritty holding it, but also not taking their support. Why are they not taking Emilio on 3? Am I crazy?
Overrated, I guess. They just decide that it's not the play. They want the Ari, try and get that matchup mid, which into what is going to very presumably be Galio is an interesting take, but I suppose it's the take they want here. As we get into it, Lulu banned on 4, and then we'll see what the other side is. It really feels like we should just be seeing Lucian pairs banned away here.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense, right? But apparently
Yeah.
not. Tahm Kench gonna face the chopping block instead. Does Data just not play Emilio? Is that like the hidden tech that we're unaware of that both these teams are clued in on? Because now you ban away the Emilio, worst case scenario, Nami's still not a bad thing. They're banning their own Emilio. What? Why?
um,
You have R04.
do we not just ban Nami here? Like, no Nami, no Lulu, no Milio, but then we're going Shogath.
What is going on?
So confused by the priorities in draft here. Unless they know
This is the
something about
weirdest
this
vanilla
Lucian
draft I've
we
ever
don't.
seen.
If this is like Lucian top lane or something, and we don't know that, then okay. But like, I feel like this is something.
Well, if
We
it's
are
Lucian top
cooking
lane, then the
along.
top bans don't make sense either from Crusaders. That's the weirdest part. None of this makes sense ever, unless it's Silas support. But why would it be Silas support? Oh my god, I hate you. It's Silas support.
Okay, I guess. It could still be Silas top lane. I mean, the Silas can still go anywhere, but
That's fair. Don't go Malphite.
it definitely feels like there's they know something we don't here, which is gonna apparently be that Silas. They think it's roaming. They want a strong fighter who can get value at level 6 without getting a ton of gold. Ults are cool, I guess, but
Ziggs
doesn't feel
Camille.
like the right play. Ziggs Camille, obviously that Camille's expected bot lane. No, because they're gonna
Nope.
go Braum. Why is this not Camille support?
Oh, in fairness, do you want dynamic on Camille support?
I would rather. Okay, man. This is.
That's
I mean,
like the
this
most
is-
excusable part of this. I
It
feel.
feels like there is a hidden SDC perk called Ultimate Wheel, where all 10 character picks are done by a wheel. And now the team with Silas is going to pick Malphite top lane to play into the
I mean, the,
Camille
the team with
because it's
Silas already
Braum
has enough
support.
ultimates. And Malphite is going to destroy this top side. Camille Kindred, good luck to you. If Galio or Ziggs get to have a little bit of time alone with the Rock, then it probably won't be anywhere near as bad from a Crusader point of view. But, I mean...
I'm playing Ziggs top lane here.
I
Send
am
my Camille bot
shook.
lane. Send my Braum support. I mean, at this point, right? There's nothing. There's nothing left to analyze, right? The teams have decided that they're playing the characters that they want to play, and we just all have to wait and see which one of them works.
But why is it Lucian Silas?
That's
How is that what you want to play?
Malphite support.
I don't
Silas
even
bot?
hate the Malphite. Human Faith, I don't even hate the Malphite on 5. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just destroy a Camille. Okay, she does some true damage now and then, but like, you do you in the top side. The rest of this draft is where the mess has happened, okay? Like, the rest of this draft is where it's gone wrong for both sides. The Malphite is like the most excusable part. Why is Silas support? Why, like, picking AP mid into Galio never feels great, but sometimes you just have to bite that bullet. I, I, I don't know why we're picking Silas so early in a draft. I don't know why we are not taking any enchanter with a Lucian who loves enchanters. I don't know why we're not taking an enchanter for Lost Zero's Lucian as well, which feels like that would be like one of the best things to boost up. I'm shook. I'm shook.
Yeah. The players have decided the characters that are being picked in the game, and for now, that's really about all we can say about this draft, right? We're shocked at whatever's happening. We'll wish the best of luck to both teams. The winner will get that advantage going into game 6 and 7, as they will have match point on their side. But we'll have to wait and see how it goes. There is obviously a point favor towards the side of Brown Clover here, pretty notable one at that. Have what 23 and 10 is 33 points should be is definitely a pretty nice point gap, but with this type of draft might not necessarily be the most important thing in the world, so we'll wait and see exactly what is going to happen here with our characters, see if they go where we expect them, or if there's going to be another couple of shakeups once we get into game. But for the moment, we'll send things on over to a break. We'll let the players figure out what the hell is happening here as we wait to see who will get that first set to match point here in the SDC semifinals. Back probably 8-10 minutes here while we get the players in the lobby get started. See you guys soon. Alrighty, we are back here, getting ready to go for our next game of the day here, as we do have Fiery versus Riddy in the jungle, getting some kindred BM here in chat, as per usual. The two junglers involving Fiery are having a good time, throwing some banter in chat here, but we'll wait and see if it will continue here. As we'll get on into it here. Don't expect too much here in a lot of these early lanes, but I suppose in the SDC, even in the most passive of matchups outside of two tanks top lane, you really can't guarantee anything, as Lucian and Silas are walking at the Ziggs, and there goes his flash, as we get the flash of Ziggs and the exhaust of Braum out basically for free, because all of that damage from the other two will get healed back up by level 2.
Yeah, we can definitely say when Silas is in the game, we're going to have aggression, especially Silas support, ignite, electrocute, Data looking for those all-in angles and instantly finding one. Dynamic healer too far up in the lane. It is interesting to point out we do have healer as the support for this game. When they lined up in the rosters, it was healer mid, echo, bot lane, dynamic support. They changed that around. They moved everyone up one, healer down to the bottom. But all things considered, hasn't helped them so much so far. With Drifting Out also getting off to a decent start in the mid lane, as you'd expect. Early Galio doesn't really have much to say, especially when compared to something like the Ari. And then we saw, of course, bot lane getting an unfavorable start, shall we say, with Yargan now taking up to level 3 as well. Fluffy Cat not having the best times in top lane either.
Yeah, again, we'll have to see how Clover is going to be able to do here. As again, obviously there will be some early chaos, early carnage here if this is going to get into an aggressive lane state. Maybe not the guaranteed expectation, obviously, but we'll see if we get into it here. If Camille starts taking some trades, good or bad, very potentially going to see some early blood drawn, but for the moment, nobody obviously at that point here, everywhere except for the bot lane in decent CSing spot. Ari is shoving into the Galio, so can kind of ignore that notable gap right now, because it should get evened out to just maybe 3 or 4 minions, even if he misses a couple of these guys. So not a big problem for Echo on the Galio here in mid, but Ziggs currently down by about 12 right now, and it's not a horrible lane state for him, so they're a wave state, so definitely going to be losing out on quite a bit right now. Data goes back in, Lucian combos in, Dynamic half HP now, so again, a bit of a continued problem they're going to have to try and solve through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also important to point out what's happened there in the jungle. We saw Lost Zero take that very aggressive line, getting vision of the Krugs that had already gone. Lucky for him, did not meet Fiery. Could have been a very different time if the Kindred had passed top to bot. Instead, realizes that the Krugs are gone, and therefore the Kindred on the top side guarantees Ritty that bot grab, and the bot grab is the 50-50 going in favor of Ritty. That's where the mark spawn, and it means that Fiery is still without mark after his first clear.
Yeah, but unfortunate there. Again, obviously, Kindred is a little bit RNG in some of these earlier game portions, but it is what it is. Can't really change the character without some very kind words from Riot, but we'll see a continued here. Kindred just going to be back on to the clear, clearing upside from Krugs. The Vi the same position from the top, so we'll see a Cat Lover. Nice trade onto Yogin here. Again, yet to see either of them go for the massive reset. Obviously, Camille did get a quick reset and get back to lane here. Got the longsword, glowing moat, and presumably probably a red pot just to try and keep the health a little bit nicer, but didn't have to teleport back, so not really going to get too punished for any of it. Down a couple of CS, but Malphite's pushing in, so again, pretty negligible here. Yogin back in this lane, just looking to farm up for the moment, keep things stable, as we will see Cat Lover. Another quick trade here. Could try and take it deeper onto Yogin, but we know he has the teleport, so if we commit and don't kill him, it is really not great.
Yeah, and even if you do kill him, it's still not amazing. Obviously, First Blood Gold is nice, but when the enemy laner still has TP, getting that kill doesn't really have as much impact. Now that Yargan has used that TP, it would be amazing if you could get that kill. However, he has Bramble Vest, so he is, for all intents and purposes, unkillable, ignoring some massive mistake that Yargan is very unlikely to make, though, of course, the chance of him making that mistake never quite 0%, even if it is very damn close.
And we'll have Cat Lover, again, another trade. Yagin did come off that teleport, bought the Bramble, so is certainly going to be a little bit difficult to take down here. Kindred's lurking, but just going to stick the recall, get that by recurve bow, double sword. Drake does get secured up for Vi as well, so really pretty happy with the current state of affairs. He's down in the top lane CS, but aside from that, everywhere else is doing quite well for themselves. We'll give them 300 gold in favor in total. Again, not the most, just a couple CS here and there, but still nice to be getting that lead, as well as being able to deny that next Kindred mark. Just spawned on the bot crab and was taken by Vi. Fiery lane gank coming in. Vi wasn't able to cancel that back, so it is just going to be first blood. Kindred takes down Silas, and that will be a nice opening kill here for the side of Fiery to get that first blood, as Cat Lover with the Sheen Longsword gonna drop that ultimatum onto Yagin. Ultimate flash available for the escape afterwards. We do use the ult to get out of danger, but won't see any more after that. Ziggs as well, though, does get forced out bot.
Yeah, and that is Dynamic actually flashing as well, so forced right the way back in the bot side as Lost Zero did exchange flashes. Yargan trying to flash out the Hextech Warder, doesn't quite land it. Said Fluffy Cat Lover still holding all the pressure. Now flash advantage as well. 200 HP left on this Malphite. If he gets in range of a wall, he is in danger. Fluffy Cat Lover should be looking to be a lot more aggressive. Instead, trying to just make sure he gets a good part of the trade instead of going for the killing blow. That one kill could be so important for him right now, especially into a Bramble vs Malphite. You don't get many opportunities. Instead, he's let Yargan base, and he might gain a little bit of XP off this, a little bit of gold, but nowhere near what would have been if he managed to get that kill.
Again, here about leaving half of CS down for the Camille, but I definitely think that we need to be keeping an eye on this Kindred. Obviously, the marks are important, the stacks are important, but just in terms of gold here, if this Kindred can get a lot, really can start trying to take this game over. Lucian, though, could be in a similar position, and while they are doing well on CS, I think the real goal of this lane was to try and actually get some notable big CS leads, but big leads, big kills, and while they are up 2-3 waves right now, they're obviously yet to draw blood here. They've gotten flashes out of Dynamic, but really not being able to get a lot of some of the pressure here that they would look for. Instead, actually, they were the only person to die to that fiery lane gank, so...
Yeah, and this is the positives and negatives that come along having with such an aggressive support champion. Anytime you see a champion that's typically just in mid lane as a mage being put into support, it is feast or famine. You need to get the kills. The reason why it's typically in mid lane is because you need that economy properly going to really get the value. Things like Lux in support can survive without that because you have enough utility. Morgana also fits into that category. Silas, unfortunately not. He's going to get some value this game because of the sheer amount of ultimates at his disposal. Things like Kindred, going to be amazing for that. Even Camille to a certain regard as well, the Hectic Ultimatum, and Glacial Fissure as well. Not exactly bad, but you're not getting your typical value in terms of CC, nor in terms of tankiness that you'd look for in a support, and of course, definitely not an Enchanter either. So you have the ability to do things like this, cancel the odd base, taking a big old rocket, a big old bomb, but does it feel like it's enough right now? Honestly, no. And trying to dive these two when they have both their ultimates up is a dangerous proposition.
Yeah, well, get continued trades here for the moment. Cat Lover taking a bit of damage. Half HP right now. Tiagin's full. Not really too much that we're wanting to do, at least for this Camille right now. Quick trade comes in. Not going to get too much follow-up. Very, very slow after that Malphite Q. Fully connects it through. Steals all that move speed. Is drifting away here on the Ahri. Looking to hold on as well. Doing some damage to Echo. I don't even think I can say that without cracking a smile, because he's just doing such negligible integers there. But again, doesn't really matter, right? We're getting the CS, we're even CS on Gallia, so it's not like we're super behind or anything. Is worth noting, Ziggs has technically closed that CS lead a little bit. Was 20-25 earlier, now it's down to 15. Doesn't mean too much, of course, but could obviously always be worse.
Yeah, and this is kind of the point of the game where you expect Ziggs to try and even that out if it's at all possible. Early on, especially without your more engagey style sports, it can be quite difficult for the Ziggs in these situations. But at this point in the game, you have about enough mana to survive for 4 minutes, maybe, with that lost chapter. And then those 4 minutes should bring you through to your item completion. That's exactly what Dynamic has done. He's held on long enough to get to the Ludens, and now he can stay in the lane for as long as he needs to. Base about 14, 15 minutes, and then TP back to mid, and then just exist there. He's done his job through the early game. Going to be a little bit late to the second Drake respawn because he doesn't have his TP back up just yet. That should be going over to make it 2-0 to the Brown Clover. But that's kind of the only spot right now on the horizon for the Crusaders. They are now going to be 2-0 down in Drakes, and they haven't got a lot of compensation either. They've got a tiny little gold lead, not even 1,000 across the Rift, and that's not going to be enough to win out this game. They're going to need a whole lot more. They're going to give you, if they're going to give up all these objectives.
Okay. Lucian ult coming in here, trying to keep this tempo. Riddy going to follow in as well. Data, Lazira taking quite a bit of damage. There goes Data here. Kindred raining down fire. Double kill for himself here, as it will be Fiery now 3-0. Just so happens to be the game's kill score as well. Every single thing has been taken by the incarnation of death himself here, as Fiery's looking to reap another life in the form of drifting away. Not going to be able to catch it due to the Ahri ult here, but at least able to force out more. Getting on to the invasion here. Looks like maybe moving to that Grom.
You're a psychopath.
You get Lost Zero taking down Dynamic. Heals are able to retrade it though with the Q. Grom gets the 1-for-1, burns the wave out from that Lucian, so could be worse here, as it is going to be a mark spawning on the Gromp as Fiery is clearing it, if I'm not mistaken. And so that is another one here for the Kindred. Definitely starting to stack up currently. It has gotten their second one, trying obviously to get a couple more of these actual player marks here now that we have really gotten on the roll, starting to snowball this game away as Vi moves into the enemy blue jungle to try and steal some camps, but there's just nothing there. Gromp spawns now, but Vi's already left, so not going to find anything in exchange there.
Yeah, nothing to claim. Fiery's starting to build that advantage. One mark from killing Ritty in that previous exchange, and the other, as you pointed out, from that Gromp, slowly building that advantage. As Jargon is putting Fluffy Cat Lover in a whole world of hurt. The hookshot wall dive going to get him out safely this time, but it was not by much. Jargon ticking up to level 11 as well, gets the extra level into his ultimate. Fluffy Cat Lover has to be very, very careful, holding his flash key, but not quite using it, not even being forced to. I think Jargon could have maybe gone for that play under the turret if he really wanted to just force out the flash, but ends up choosing not to. Backs away, and I'm not really seeing the value in him backing away. I'd have loved to have seen him put the pressure on, especially with the wave going under the tower. Now instead you get Fluffy Cat Lover, who gets to just buy his Triforce and then take the all-in.
And yeah, Yagin just has to pop the ult flash out here. Maybe could have greeted on the flash and held it for a little bit to see if he needed it, but doesn't want to take any extra poke and risk getting dived here by someone like Fiery in the area, so just decides to send them both as we get Data looking bot lane, has that Ziggs bomb, EQs around, Riddy and Drifting both here, but even with 4, it doesn't feel like there's much they can do. Braum just so strong on some of these defenses as Camille taking this tower down, 4 kills to 1 right now, but the 4 currently up 2k gold. They have the grubs as well. They may be out the dragons, but at the very least, something swinging back in their name, and with Kindred at the state they're in, these dragons should start to fall to them here. We'll see how the 1 in 2 minutes goes for that first Hex Dragon, but we'll see Fluffy Cat Lover, Yagin. They are hitting each other. They're getting the stacks. They're getting the damage here. Fluffy Cat Lover does do more damage right now, by all means. Triforce Camille over pre-item Malphite. Not really a big surprise to see who has more damage, but Yagin greeting maybe a bit too long, and yeah, that Q reset comes in, flash Q, true damage comes in, and that will be the kill on Yagin, as a lot of people picking out the Camille flash, but at the end of the day, it's there to get kills, and it's pretty nicely done for Cat Lover. Now 1-0-0, able to find the solo for their first credit of the game.
And that is yet more proof, I think, as to why Jargon really should have been looking aggressive in the previous exchange, when he could have got that kill, when he could have at least forced the flash out of Fluffy Cat Lover. You can play the skill check game. He got him low enough where he was, ult and it hits, he's dead. If he flashes out of it, then fair play. But not forcing that summoner and then getting your own flash forced, your own ult forced, gives Fluffy Cat Lover so much free time in the lane. The fact that he's then able to get the base off as well that gives him Triforce. You can see how much that has changed the dynamic of the top lane. Jargan missed a key window, and now he's paying the price.
And yeah, it's definitely in here. As we get Vi looking bot here. He's going to get a quick combo onto heals there, taking a bit of damage. Ziggs trying to help him out with the satchel. Fiery's here as well, so if they don't get the hell out of here, they're going to be in for another couple deaths, but they do back away immediately as we turn Echo in, trying to get onto drifting, but the Ahri ult gets away from the Galio charge. Not going to be in too much problem here for Ahri. Not thrilled to use the ult so close to Dragon, but obviously better than taking a death or a very large amount of the health bar, so is going to be able to escape real quick. Cat Lover harassing mid plates now, really just trying to split push wherever they can get tower value, but is going to roam down here for the dragon. They don't want to get pushed to soul point at only 16 minutes, wall up 4k gold, so they're surely going to try something here, but Braum is pretty slow, but they don't have much time to wait. They're going to jump over the wall here as it will be the Vi trying to get in. Taunt comes through. Lamb's Respite comes in, trying to keep him alive. Don't want to get one tap. A lot of players taking damage. Galio comes through toward the end of it. It'll be another Lamb's Respite with the hand of Silas, but Kindred finds the Drake. Camille finds Lucian. Ziggs finds Vi. Galio to Malphite. Camille to Silas, drifting away, trying to get himself that namesake escape here, but he won't be able to do anything. Double kill for Camille. Galio gonna find a double kill as well. It is a 5-for-0 ace. They get the dragon. They get the tier 1 mid. This game feels like it's already over here, and we haven't even touched 17 minutes.
Yeah, Brown Clover have lost their minds on day 2. In day 1, they were amazing. They got themselves a very nice advantage through some very solid gameplay, but right here, right now, did they forget that they're playing into a Kindred? Is that not a Kindred in the back of the pit? You know the one champion who can just press R and not die? Like, what was the plan? Why are we sending everything we have onto a Kindred when we don't even have a CC chain to make sure that Fiery can't press R? The Lamb's Respite is such a powerful ultimate. That's why the Silas even has any value in this game at all. The fact that the Kindred was picked after the Silas is a different matter altogether. But you can't just send your engage onto a champion that can choose not to die. That doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're trying to make a play here on Cat Lover. Data gonna get the ultimatum. Unfortunately, Fluffy Cat Lover gets back to tower, so is able to use it for quite a lot of value. Doesn't have his own ultimatum, though, so despite doing quite a lot of damage here, none of it is lethal, as Zero gonna take quite a bit of damage again to that Mega Inferno Bomb, but it's not gonna be lethal, so it is just gonna be a nice quick pick here. The second kill of the game, the second kill for Lucian, and the second kill for the whole team. Here we go. Malphite just slams onto Fiery, who's gonna commit to this red buff. Will get it. Galio ulting in. Now Jargan likely gonna get sent packing here. Quick dispatch. Fiery, no problem wall hopping. I think Jargan should just turn, right? Yeah, he's gonna make what I'm gonna say is the right play here. Obviously, once he's in the position
anyway.
being in the Rift Pit, he's not getting out. So just try and get the snap kill on Fiery before the rest of the team is there. Doesn't work, but I think that's the highest EV play he has once he gets into the Rift Pit there. So don't hate it at all. Doesn't work like mentioned, but again, you're currently down everything. You're down in every category except for dragons, which is a bit of a sore spot for them considering where they lost the last fight. So we'll have to wait and see for the moment how things will go. Ziggs finishes up his Shadow Flame. 2 items coming through for pretty much everybody on this side, yet for their opposition, we haven't seen a single player reach that mark except for Lucian, who just now is going to get it, but he still doesn't even have tier 2 boots.
Yeah, and something that's also very important to contextualize about this game as well. This is Crusaders coming into this game down 33 points, right? This is a game that they're not meant to be winning, and yet they are so dominantly in control. A couple of key mistakes have come through from Brown Clover, of course. Like, when a game like this happens, where it's like a massive point advantage, it's not down to just one thing, as this is dangerous from Fluffy Cat Lover now, taking the all-in. Jargan is going to win that just about, flashing to close the distance at the very last moment, barely taking the W this time around, missing away on the Mega Inferno Bomb as well. Unfortunately, Dammit can't quite find where Jargan was hiding. But as I said, like, this is a game that the Crusaders are not meant to win in terms of point value, right? They submitted a roster that is significantly weaker. The fact they're in this position, up 6k gold, where objective bounties are spawned against their opponents, says a lot. like it could be maybe even better if Fluffy Cat Lab haven't been caught these last couple of times. We're talking about this being an even better game state. Unfortunately, that first shutdown goes over to Lost Zero. He now has 2 items. That second kill now goes Jargon's way as well. So there's a couple of things starting to flow maybe in the other directions. Drifting Way is going to claim that objective bounty top side. They have cut the Goldie down a little bit at Brown Clover, but it's still sat there at 5k, and their soul is at best 6 minutes away, assuming somehow the Crusaders don't take a fight where they're up 5k gold.
Yeah, like you mentioned, right, this is not necessarily a game that the Crusaders should be winning, right? Obviously, we talked about that point div earlier, but they've found all the right buttons to press. They found all the right spots to get their lead, and I mean, I think some of this can go back to draft, right? I mean, we're playing Lucian Silas bot lane, and they thought it would work,
Yeah,
and maybe it can work, right? I'm not going to say I'm the expert in Lucian Silas, but
no, it
that's what
doesn't.
happens. Data just gets quick dropped here in this fight. Lost Zero gonna flash killing over the wall here. We're gonna get a mess in the Rift Pit. Galio trying to ult up. Everybody is stuck in the Rift Pit here. His heals are trying to tank up for Dynamic. Here comes Camille, though. Camille hasn't been here. I was thinking this fight is looking a little bit scary close here. Maybe this game isn't completely over, but the Camille just wasn't here at all. The main bruiser frontline-ish here wasn't in the fight, so they show up, they clean up. Fluffy Cat Lover and Heels are gonna get onto the dragon. Nobody else is here to steal it. There is no jungler for either side. Fiery and Riddy both dead for another 10-15 seconds respective, but there's no one here to stop this. Dragon is gonna get secured here. 2-2 dragons, and the one category where there was a lead has officially been burnt here. It is going to be closed down. They are up in gold kills, dragons, grubs. I suppose they're not up in dragons yet, but
Oof.
we do get more kills added to the stack here. Ultimatum on Lost Zero. Nice hook shot around. Data will be the next to fall. Taunt comes through on both, and with the double kill for Camille, we'll see Yagen join the dead. Vi's actually donating another kill to the effort here. We'll see if they can manage to get out. They should be fine. He actually gets that Q back over the Wolves wall, but now it is going to just be to the Baron. 5 versus 2. Ridian drifting away the 2 survivors. Currently a collective 2, 5, and 2 between them. So we'll see what can happen. The expectation is nothing, and or the game gets worse for them if they go for something. Maybe Riddy hits some crazy miracle steal, but he's just on the Grugs. He knows there's no point, truthfully, in risking it, because they could just lose the game in a minute if they start losing more and more people right now. So get the Krug, try and farm up what we can, but again, it's getting worse and worse here now. 7k gold in the hole.
Yeah, and it's going to be a while before it gets better as well. You need your Lucian to be in acres of space with 4 or 5 items for this game to ever feel good, and I'm not sure you're ever going to get there. It's just just a mismanagement from Brown Clover. Like, you're not contesting that Drake because you've already lost that Drake. So don't then contest the Drake and then take another losing fight. It's not the worst thing in the world to have a negative play here and there. It's League of Legends. The other team are competent players. They are going to make good plays. Your job, especially in games such as this, is to not make a bad play worse. And unfortunately, that's something that has just been unavoidable as of yet. Brown Clover, they haven't been able to stop the bad plays from getting worse. And in fact, they keep doubling down and making them worse and worse. As this is a nice angle, but is it enough?
Yeah, it is going to be the ultimatum onto the backline. Fluffy Cat Lover taking a lot of damage, but Fiery finds Data. It will be Ziggs for 1, Ziggs for 2. Trying to keep the pressure. We flash onto Lost Zero. Knock up onto Drifting Away. There goes Lost Zero. 1 HP. Trying to get out, but Heelzer's Flash Q finds it on the Braum. Drifting away, backing away, unfortunately, while he will survive. The rest of his team and presumably the base will go down 70-30 odds. Fiery is thrilled with the current result, as again, his performance here on Kindred gave some great positioning to get the rest of his team in good positions. Fluffy Cat Lover able to accelerate themselves here, and again, in terms of player value here, that's a 16-point player on the Camille against a 110-point roster on average, 16 or higher. So definitely a solid game from Cat Lover, nothing to be upset about. Ziggs Dynamic 8 points, or 4 points for Dynamic, sorry. A solid Ziggs game, right? Not necessarily the hardest character in the world, but for 4 points, doing what you need to do to close out an upset in Game 5 of the playoffs is definitely no small thing.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing from a Crusaders point of view as well is they've used up so many of their lower tier players in these
Yeah.
games. They low pointed heavy in game 2, In game 5, they do something quite similar. They haven't really gone for a high point this whole time. They've had tier 3s and tier 4s in every single game. And now they have one game left of Dynamic, one game left of Fluffy Cat Lover. They could, even if they want to, match them together and have them play, say, in game 6, and then send out the God Squad in game 7. Loads of options have now opened up to the Crusaders as they take a huge advantage in this series,
Yeah.
and it's just off the back of 2 games that were not very well coordinated for Brown Clover. They weren't meant to win game 1, but game 2, on a vanilla, up 33 points, they look like the team down 33 points, and that is a damning indictment of their drafting, their cohesion, and their individual play.
And yeah, there's definitely a lot they could do here. They could even just send the God Squad out right now. Game 6, force roll, prevent ban, steal ban, send, trying to just eyeball a composition. This might not even be legal, but you could do something like Sovereign, Fiery, K3, Zap, and Fluffy Cat Lover, maybe. Again, I'm not doing all of the math to see exactly who does, who doesn't have to play in some of these specific games, but they have a lot of opportunities open to them after winning a game like that. They have a vanilla if they want to play a slow game. They have 3 perks for when they don't want to play the vanilla, and we'll have to wait and see exactly what they do. We're going to send things over to a break after a very strong PWC Crusaders upset. They take the lead 3-2. They go to match point. They have a lot of perks left in their pocket, only a couple of added bans on the other side of things. So we'll have to wait and see how things are going to go. Game 6, we'll be back here in a bit. Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. We are here getting ready for Game 6. Apologies for the delay. We had, unsurprisingly, the entire world of perks. You can see the glowing green. We'll go in the order that they were used. To start, we have a force roll forcing the mid player here getting sent on over. Should be Kaba getting sent to mid. In result, the team formation was illegal, so K3 was given the top roll or the fill for the game so that they can have a legal roster. So it will be Kaba mid and K3 at top. Additionally, PWC followed it up with a 2+0 prevent banning Caitlyn, which we already see them first picking. The other prevent there was Bard. Then we saw use steal a ban, but Vayne, so that Vayne ban came from PWC. They got 4 of the opening 6 main bans. Then Brown Clover used additional ban, 2+1, banning Aatrox and Zehen, with the other side by PWC being Twitch. So our bans are the characters we saw in Game 4, the characters we saw in Game 5, Jarvan, Jhin, Karma, Vayne, and Twitch banned by PWC, and Hecarim, Jinx, Aatrox, Zehen banned away by Brown Clover, as we have Sion Varus on 2, Bard hovered for B2.
Yeah, Bard Caitlyn starting off things very nicely hit for the Crusaders. Sion Varus, interesting. Maybe not quite same power level as that bot lane, but very solid characters all the same. As Aurora here is taken on 3 by the Crusaders, I would have expected something a bit more obviously into this Sion. Could be the Aurora top. Not going to rule that out, but I'm not sure if that's what Counter is looking for in his counter pick, especially into someone who's not used to playing Sion, right? K3 is a mid laner by every definition. He is not used to playing outside of the mid lane, does play bot lane, so you can do mages, has a couple of ADCs in back pocket, but Sion is a large departure from that. Would have expected something a bit more aggressive from Counter, but he also might want to make sure that it certainly is the Sion going to K3 because it's not unheard of to play Sion mid. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
shocked if they just played things out of role so that they have more comfort on the right champions, right? If Karma plays Sion mid and K3 plays Mage top, then it's just a Mage that goes to level 20.
And yeah, I do think that is one of the things worth keeping in mind. Again, the rosters here, obviously, we see the screen gap there, but just to actually run over it is 126 points to 100, so a 26-point difference, and Kaba and K3 are forced to swap positions here, so the mid and top swapping to the other solo lanes. Again, a lot of the same mechanics. At the end of the day, League of Legends players are just playing the game, but obviously getting thrown out of your comfort zone, getting forced into some of these other potential matchups that you might not be as familiar with, but I suppose if you just play Sion anyways, you don't really have to care if that ends up being the path we get. Xin Zhao and Kane going to be the bans we have on screen for the moment. Brown Clover add Pantheon to the mix here. So really trying to get rid of a lot of these aggressive mid-bruiser damagey junglers. As we'll see what PWC want to do. Could obviously go back into that same well. Wukong going to get banned away. Obviously, again, this bruisery genre of jungle, a lot of popularity right now, especially considering some of our added bans maybe taking away a couple of those top jungle flexes, maybe trying to make it a little bit more complicated to build up a normal mid to top side, but we'll have to wait and see what we get here on the 4, as it looks like it might be that Shyvana.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's important to point out as well about bruisers is that A, there are not a lot of them in the game, and B, they're pretty good into Sion if you can take them in the lane as well. So Crusaders could be looking at the jungle and top lane being very similar champions, but they're the ones actually banning away a lot of the bruisers, which makes it even more interesting. I think Xin Zhao would have been fine in this comp. Wukong would have been quite nice, honestly. Even into the Lulu, you still get value from the Cyclone as soon as you press it, whether Polymorph comes or not. I'm surprised that I actually been taken away. Instead, headed into this more carry-focused mindset. It is Sovereign. Let's not be surprised that Sovereign wants to put some carry-type champions in his back pocket. But it then leaves you a little bit vulnerable. Counter choosing to go for the Garen on 5 here. And let's not forget, this Sion doesn't always have to go top, especially with Karma being in mid lane. They could just choose to take a Sion, rather take a Garen counter in the top lane. Does
And yeah,
K3
we'll
have
see.
a Garen counter?
We'll see what the pick is going to be. I mean, There's a lot that you can play, and I'm down. I'm not gonna say it's the greatest pick. I'm not gonna say it's the worst pick because I have no idea what this matchup actually looks like. But I am always down to see some Vladimir gaming. I feel like this character is so feast or famine, but in a position like this where you're about to get eliminated from the playoffs, I am down to see a bit of a risk being taken here to try and help get your team to that game 7.
Yeah, just having a look at some stats from solo queue, it appears
He's
that this is
extremely
a
Garen-sided.
but I'm surprised
Early game, okay, I'm
I'm not
seeing
finding that.
early game, I'm seeing it is good for the Vladimir, but in terms of actual game conversion, Garen has a very strong win percent.
So on this patch, I'm seeing it as 50.4 plays 49.6 in overall win percentage.
I have 57 Garen. Okay. We got some
We have a
various
disparity in stats.
numbers. Yeah. Well, something
Um,
in here is incorrect, but regardless, I think that it definitely can work, right? I think that Vladimir definitely has a lot of things he can do in the lane. I don't know what level of Vladimir we're looking at. I would assume if he's picking it, he's a bit comfortable with the character, but obviously it's not super meta. It's not commonly played these days. It's obviously a player in the wrong role, right? It's presumably going to be K3's played top lane. It could be Cabba's played mid, I suppose, is always the thing worth keeping in mind, but I really would expect it to be that Scion mid at this point. Keep Cabba on a comfortable tank, a character that he knows, and obviously maybe if you get to that point, once you're allowed to do the quick lane swaps, get them back in order, but obviously that's a problem for a later point in the game here. They have to get a little bit into the game before those lane swaps are illegal by SDC rules, but obviously we'll have to wait and see exactly what they want to do.
yeah, uh, this is going to result in a very interesting game, I'm sure. Uh, I mean, let's have a look around the rift for a second. We got Caitlyn Bard into Varus Lulu. If ever there was a volatile lane, I think that might just qualify. Very little by the way of engage. You got obviously a Cosmic Binding, a Polymorph, but that is about it by way of CC. To be fair, that's about it by way of CC for the whole game. Beyond something like the Unstoppable Onslaught from the Scion, it's not going to be easy for either side to really find their angles, but if they're found, Caitlyn following up on Bard is immense. Varus shooting into targets with diminished stats and an inability to run away is also very, very strong. Bot lane is going to be a place of heavy contention, and so both teams should be looking to invest a lot of resources, and that's why these junglers are also so interesting to look at. Viego loves having a lane that he can just brawl in, right? Whenever he wants to go down bot lane, he can just take a fight. If the Varus and the Lulu aren't standing under their tower, he can have a go. If it works, great. If it doesn't, oh well. Try again in a couple minutes or so. And Sovereign is going to, I would imagine, keep his focus down there on the bot side of the map where the Shyvana is going to have a real tough time responding as well. It's not going to be impossible, but it's not going to be easy by any stretch. And if for whatever reason the Crusaders get bored of bot lane, they can roam their bard around the place. They can have a look in towards mid lane, and they can create 3-on-1s very easily. If the Lulu wants to try and respond to the roam, then I wish her luck. If you're going to try and cross map onto the Caitlyn, that might be the better overall play, but you also have to be careful because Caitlyn can be very survivable. Doesn't always feel that way, but that 90 caliber net sometimes gives just enough distance to keep that Caitlyn safe. And Crusaders, I feel like, should be able to create so many numbers mismatches that Brown Clover are in a very difficult predicament throughout this whole game.
And yeah, we'll have to hold on and wait and see exactly how things are going to shake out. Again, pretty much every advantage going into the game, I would say, is in the favor of the Crusaders. They have the point advantage, they have lots of perks behind them, and they are on match point, one League of Legends game away from breaking their way into the SDC Season 24 grand finale. We're getting the ready checks in the lobby, making sure both teams are good to go. We're going to send them into the lobby, let them get spec delay out of the way. We'll send things to our own break, and we will be back here in just a couple of minutes, probably closer to around 6 to 8 minutes at this point, as we get the draft done, spec delay gone. We'll be back, potentially the final game of the SDC semifinals. We'll be back here in a bit. Alrighty, we are back here, ready to go in game number 6. Could be the last game of the semis. And what do you think? We got the Vladimir top for K3, the Scion mid for Kaba. And how you think this one's gonna shake down, Ryu?
Uh, I think it's going to be difficult for Clover to recover in this series as a whole. Game 6 is going to be a very good testing ground for that, at the very least. If they can win this one, they put themselves in a position to at least have a go at the series. But from here on, it's definitely an uphill battle. They put themselves in such a predicament in losing that Game 5. When you win Game 5 in a close series, it's just one out of the next two. But now, on the other end of it, you lose it, and you have to win them both. And it's just such an arduous task, such a long road back to try and find your way in this series. And it's not going to be given over easily as well. You're in rough matchups across the Rift. Top lane should be going maybe okay, especially early on. You can trade quite well with Garen, but come kind of 20, 25 minutes, you're in a world of hurt. If you can withstand that storm, looking pretty damn good overall. Bot lane's going to have some troubles. Just look at it. It's Caitlyn Bard into a Lulu lane. It's not going to be easy by any stretch. And then mid lane, more of the same, right? We're in a position where, as Brown Clover, we might be fighting for our lives in a game where we have 3 losing lanes. And that's not a position anyone ever wants to be in.
I'll have to see now if there will be any super early action here. Again, obviously, like we mentioned, maybe not expecting a ton, but as always in the SDC, there can always be some shenanigans. Kaba, do you think he'll struggle a bit here, obviously, in this early mid lane, out of position, down points? Maybe a rough matchup here, especially in these earliest parts. Scion, there's not really anything he can do other than take damage and chip at waves, so we'll see if he will be able to hold on. Try and keep that CS okay, at least, right? Obviously, he's not going to be winning CS against the Aurora, but can obviously do his best to mitigate any large leads. Down 8 right now, but obviously the ebb and flow of the wave will allow a little bit more timing to get some and lose some CS here. Bakaba getting zoned off of almost even his melee minions here under tower, so definitely not thrilled about the exact game state he's in. And again, this force roll, right? It's the perk, right? It's not like they decided to send Kaba mid and now he's on the Scion. They obviously picked that one, but they didn't say, let's send Kaba mid, it could work here. They're forced into it, so again, nice decision here as Sunny D Swag should be able to reap the benefits.
Absolutely. The benefits should be quite enormous as well, as he just keeps on trading into Kaba. Unfortunately, the longer this goes on, the less value he may end up getting, as that is a yoink away. No, not quite, actually. Look, it's Data that's going to win that Spectrum. We're going to go wide. Data running into the support is Vladimir. Who's going to win this fight?
Garen's solo already, but with Viego and Aurora here, it just doesn't matter. Garen gets first blood, K3 forced into the pool, and again, it's first blood here to the Garen, and that is probably not what you want to be seeing, as Fluffy Cat Lover on the very quick roam doesn't have the mage bot lane, but they have the tempo to be allowed it, so they're definitely thrilled about that. Garen got the kill. He hasn't gotten the reset yet, so he's not in a perfect spot yet, and he needs to not die to the Vladimir. K3 trying to farm up as much blood as he can, as much of this passive to get that next empowered Q on the Garen, but has to use it on a minion. Again, if he can get some strong attacks on this Garen here, he could try and get that kill, but Garen, level 5, getting some of that shield gold, some of that the shield health, passive health, he's healing up quite a bit here, enough to go for this next wave as Kaba. Currently down 14 CS in the mid lane on this Scion as well. Again, definitely going to be the tail of this game, just in terms of keeping gold in your pocket. But Lost Zero stunted to the wall. That's a trap. That's a net. That's a lot of damage on the Varus here. Fluffy Cat Lover finds that kill. There's one for him. Yols, can he get out? He believes there's no chance of getting out, so he's going to try and kill Zap, but the stun comes in. Trap comes down. Zap a kill. Fluffy Cat Lover a kill. Garen a kill. Obviously, the other two assists each on everybody but Garen here, so it is a continual growing problem right now. A death for 3 in this side, and they are going to need to figure out what to do here. K3 and Kaba, the two yet to take a fall.
Yeah, and the worst part is the overall gold lead is also just exacerbated by the previous plays, right? Some early games, you can withstand a couple of early deaths, right? Maybe you get some plates. Maybe you're up in CS across the board. This is the opposite. This is you are down absolutely everywhere. You are getting slaughtered now in your lanes. You tried to make something happen around the first crab. You got caught. Data gets deleted. Counter did use Ignite, so maybe K3 is a little bit of an easier time in lane. but it's not really coming to much. The CS is still pretty even, all things considered. And then what happens in bot lane just happened down there in bot lane. Clover with a beautiful magical journey gets himself all the way through, and Zap just has to knock down the pins that were set up so perfectly by his support. Unfortunately, can't quite claim the first kill, but that was never really a possibility. If we're being honest, it just didn't quite shape out that way. If you want to make sure that everyone stays alive, you couldn't quite get that off, as Counter's in a precarious position.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for some form of proxy, as he's now getting sprinted out by K3 and Data. A lot of move speed to try and get out, but we'll look bot. Fluffy Cat Lover trying to catch Yols. Yols just going to pop the flash. Viego going to force his last Zero's flash. Double flash from the bot lane as Garen looks to have escaped the top scenario. Not too sure exactly what he did to get out. It honestly
I think
very
he probably
possibly
pressed
could just be
Q.
walking in a straight line.
Mm.
Yeah, he didn't obviously burn that flash. I thought that would be an option over the Rift Wall, but we see that cooldown ready to go as Viego looking mid. Kaba gonna get chunked half HP. Counter walks here. The smite comes through. He's fighting Data Demacia. Yeah. That's Garen for you. Look at the things from Shyvana. Garen used flash. Garen used ignite. Garen used R. Demacia Justice rains down holy democracy, and that is a death for Data that probably doesn't feel like he misplayed all that much, but Garen said, you know what, I'll give away a wave or two. I'm gonna come fight Shyvana on the red buff. They're able to smite it, but that's Garen. That's double sum ult Garen to kill me in my own jungle, so feels a bit unfortunate for Data, but you know what, Counter, you have the abilities to get kills, and that's what he did. Used them to pick up another one, gets back to lane, only down a wave of CS, so not really the biggest problem of all time. He'll pick up another 5 here, go down 4. He'll be down 4 CS in exchange for that Shyvana kill.
I think we call that worth in the business. And
Yeah.
what Data did wrong was being level 5. And unfortunately, doesn't have the ult, so can't build up the rage, can't get that fear either, can't fly over a wall. Had to get close to a wall to try and flash his Fluffy Catler. That's a very deep magical journey. Doesn't even go for the binding early, instead just going to spam out Lost Zero with the help of Zap. Down to half HP yet again is this Varus. Just look at the difference in items, right? It's not even like there's a massive discrepancy in terms of gold. Obviously, the kill and the assist is going to help things out. It's about 400 lead for Zap, but when Lost Zero is forced into yet another base, going towards that static Shiv, and in the way that he's doing, every single item stuff off just doesn't feel great. You need the full item completion to really feel like you have anything, because until that point, things like pickaxe, things like longsword just have so much more value, especially for a Caitlyn.
And yeah, we're gonna move in here, Kaba. He's in the wave, man. He is not having a great time here. Down 34 CS to this Aurora already. The lowest player in the game, aside from the supports,
24.
of course, by quite a large amount here compared to anyone else. The closest player is his own jungle and bot, where he's down 20 CS to every other main player in the lobby. So definitely not thrilled right now. 2B Kaba gonna get harassed off a lot more throughout the game. Not too surprising, of course, considering the characters, the game state, the force roll, the points, the series, everything of the nature. So we'll see if something turns around for this side of Clover, but right now it definitely feels a little bit precarious.
I think that's one way to phrase things. As Counter's now even looking to start a proper freeze here on the top side. It's going to be Grubs taken as well. That's knowledge of where this Viego is, but still K3 playing very, very aggressive, as that is
Wow,
death
that
in the
is...
bot side as well, coming very soon if they're not careful.
Yeah, last Zero Summoners are able to help him out just enough. Zap going to take quite a lot of damage to the Shyvana Varus, but it's not going to be lethal either way we go. Both ADCs lose quite a bit of HP. Zap able to keep the barrier, at least in comparison, as Aurora kind of walks into a Scion Q there. Didn't need to happen, and Yols is dead. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an excessive flash from Zap. I guess he really wanted to close down the angle, make sure he got the trap under the feet of the Lulu. But when you have Bard in the area, I feel like you can trust your support to land that Cosmic Binding, get it into the wall. Yols does not have flash, so all it comes down to is, does your support know the timing? If you have the confidence, you don't even need to use that summoner. You can just go for your trap based off the Cosmic Binding and guarantee the kill that way. Uses the extra summoner, gets the kill, but maybe could have done even more efficiently and put himself in an even better place. Not to say he's in a bad place, though, because that would be the opposite of true. That like, he is in an amazing place. Hex Optics already confirmed at minute 10. First item in the game in his inventory, and I have to say, the rest of his squad are not that far behind him.
And yeah, I hate to say that Brown Clover have already been eliminated, but it's certainly
You
starting
can
to
say it.
trend on that path again. I don't think this game is 100% over, right? There's a chance that someone disconnects, Data finds a pentakill, and then just becomes an absolute terrorist on the Rift. K3 finds level 16, has a couple kills by then, 3-4 items, and he just becomes another terror on the Rift. Because again, I think late game Vladimir is very scary. He's like a, I don't want to say Cassidon Jr., but really does feel like he is going to scale back up into that spot. But the big problem is even Cassidon doesn't matter at level 16 if Caitlyn finds more and more kills here, which seems it may be the
Bye-bye.
point here. Sion going to ult out here. Feels that Viego gank a little bit too scary here from Mr. Lower, but we'll see for the moment. Is able to escape the Lanzeronials. Not going to take too much damage to that Bard journey. Again, it's not necessarily an expensive play, as Aurora going to free hit Kaba while he free hits Wave. Quest complete for the Aurora. Again, the players are allowed to lane swap at this point if they wanted to. Don't necessarily think it's the guaranteed right call or even the unguaranteed right call, but especially once these role quests are completed, you can freely change lanes at this point in the game. If they want to send Sion into Garen, if they want to send Vladimir into Aurora, that is something that is legal to be done at this point of the game. But again, you have to consider role quests, you have to consider a lot of different things aside from just one-to-one who's better where. So we'll wait and see. For the moment is going to be the same lane assignments for K3 and Kava here. Viego on the double clear, doing two camps at the same time. Shyvana looking top, flees onto counter. Gonna try and keep this damage rolling on, but he is able to right-click toward his tower, then press QE, and unfortunately that's going to be a little bit too much for the side of Brown Clover to deal with.
Very safe escape there for counter. I think something else to consider as well when we're talking about these lane assignments is actually itemization in this early to mid game. Kaba going towards the like the magic resist version of that Barmy Cinder, right? Going much more focused into stopping Sunny D as opposed to stopping counter, and that means that you just don't want to be taking the Scion into the Garen at this phase of the game. Data is caught and gone. Heartbreaker and Between Wells used, but it's all well and good pinging them when you're the one that's dead and you didn't even get to pop your own ultimate.
Yeah, it will be counter. On to K3 here. Doesn't look like we're going to commit too deeply under tower. But again, look at the state of the game. We're 13 minutes in, and there's already a 6k gold lead. This is... It's just congrats PWC on qualifying for the grand final. It really does feel like it's getting more and more to that slot. Again, not sure of who they await in that grand final. Currently in the other matchup, Reborn's Lower Syndicate currently lead 3-2 on top of their opposition. And if my sheet would let me scroll it, Rebecca's Equal Rights Act. Wanted to make sure I got the captain correct. As we'll have K3 getting...
Oh, hero for grub!
Let's have it here. Gets the heal. That is a bit of unfortune. Is again not really luck fortune, but definitely feels a little bit bad there for the side of Garen. But at the end of the day, he didn't die at the very least. He got sums at the very least. So it definitely could have been a worse interaction here. As we'll have Data on the Grump. Gonna get that cleared up. Cosmic Drive finished up for the Vladimir. First items starting to come in for pretty much everybody at this point. Sion, the one lacking behind. Obviously, I suppose the supports in that category as well, but never really too big of a surprise to have the supports a little bit behind the curve when it comes to XP and gold. But we'll see it for the moment here. Looking mid at the moment, Kaba should be fine in terms of not dying, but obviously is still trailing in a couple categories. Not the worst topside player in CS. Shyvana has fallen behind him, but is still 25 or so behind this Aurora.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's delaying this base as well. He has item in base, but I wonder if he's looking for the Merc Dread as well, with Rift Herald spawning very soon, with Drake spawning as well very soon. He needs to find a base timer. He needs to get out and back onto the Rift, either with the ice completion or with boots, preferably with both, but I don't think that's quite an option. Has 1200 in inventory right now. Merc Treads will be about 950 away. The full ice completion from your main items is about 650, so he's looking for like a 1600 back, but he's not going to get it. In fact, he may even have to flash out to safety, and looks like Sovereign as well, not going to make it easy. Sitting there in the mist, looking for a heartbreaker angle, can't quite find where Cabra has got himself to. Encounters are also forced into escape on the top side.
Yeah, it is going to be the dragon spawning, second dragon of the game here at 15 minutes. We'll see the teleport mid from Aurora. Viego looking to get on the map as well. Counter taking a bit of damage top side, but neither of them presumably looking to rush that teleport. La Zero going to
Huh.
get quite a lot of support from the Lulu, but unfortunately it's not enough to save him. Bardo connects onto Data, but Caitlyn has returned to the minion wave, so he's just going to get that quick stun into the wall, then back away. Viego, Aurora have arrived as well, so the fight that was already in their favor has just gotten even more so with mid jungle now working on the dragon. Caitlyn
Oh no,
clearing out the wave,
Yols.
and Yules. Did we need
Yeah,
to recall there? I feel
you
like we
got.
could have gone
You're
further
not
back.
allowed to recall there. Like,
Yeah.
that's the difference, isn't it? It's not about needing to. It's about needing not to. As that's a great flash stun as well from Fluffy Cat Lover. Data caught on the bush, thought he was being sneaky, but he's gone down as well. Heartbreaker in, and Sovereign picks up another. It is just calamity after calamity for the Brown Clover, and that might honestly be an apt way to sum up what's happened today. It's not been one mistake that set them down for these 3 games. It's been almost a continuous stream of errors that they've been unable to halt. And now they're getting shut out. And we're in the realm of a perfect game. They have no objectives, no towers, no kills. We're 17 minutes into a perfect game.
Yeah, we'll see if they can continue it here, where if you've cursed them in this Scion Glory and Death is going to
What
immediately
the?
find someone as Kaba trying to work through. Yules flashes out, but is going to go down. I know King Coney said he had Yules 1v9ing this one, but I think that was a typo. I think he meant Yules is going to 1-9 this one, because that's the way the KD is heading right now, unfortunately.
That implies not perfect game. I don't know.
That's true, that's true, that's true. We'll get Caitlyn taking another tower down, working on mid lane now. Mid tower gonna get shredded down to just 2 plates here with 1 or 2 more autos, but we'll back away for the moment. Garen takes the tier 2 up in the top lane. Shyvana gonna work it backwards as well, trying to get a little bit of vision control, but obviously not necessarily the utmost important marker. 10.5k gold right now, and I can't imagine there's been too many perfect games, if any, in SGC history. Not necessarily an easy feat to achieve. Not
Especially
necessarily
in this day and
sure.
age.
Yeah, I'd say maybe Silverhammer randomly has that stat marked somewhere as well. I know they got just about everything in the world not known, but we'll have to wait and see if it does happen first before we can be too concerned with how many of them there's been. As like you mentioned, 18 minutes in, they're certainly on pace. They certainly have the gold to make it happen, but that means they have to be careful of not letting a single death come through. So obviously, if that is going to be a concern for them trying to get that perfect game, or if it's just going to be something that might end up happening coincidentally by their complete dominance here to knock their opposition out. But Brown Clover, they really are running out of time to turn this game around. Truthfully, likely already out of time to turn this game around. We'll see if something absolutely absurd happens as Kaba slams towards Sunny D. Swag, escapes the Q slam with the W, hops between worlds as we'll get through counter. Looking toward K3, going to be looking on it here. Does have everything he needs to win this fight, probably, as Vladimir backing away, trying to heal up a little bit, but counter looks like he's just going to try and get out of here, as that guy is
K3, you're
very
allowed to do
quick.
that.
Turns and slams the ult onto K3, but he does get that Q heal off. Viego in the area would love to kill the Vladimir, but it seems like there's just a few too many things stopping him, so he'll take the Gromp. Sunny D will harass as Viego taking quite a bit of damage. Could go down here if they hyper commit. If it's Shyvana going
Data's
for
running
it
out
here,
of dragon
but
form.
yeah, counter just gonna hold on, heal for him here, while it will be a Sovereign greeting over toward the blue buff here, trying to heal up what he can. As the top laners, it really feels like Aurora's a Grasp of the Undying tank here with how little damage they do to each other.
Yeah, I mean, the Scion things, right? Especially with Hollow
Yeah.
Radiance in the back pocket. Leandri's doing a good job from Sunny D's point of view, but it's not really ever going to be enough to get through this Scion. I'm surprised we haven't actually seen Kaba take those Merc Treads. Or at least some form of tier 2 boots. Bearing in mind, he's not in top lane. He does have the role quest. He does get tier 3 boots the second he
Yeah.
gets tier 2. Instead, he's gone Kindle Gem plus Ruby Crystal, building towards maybe like a Spirit Visage, but I feel like that is a misstep. As oh my god, Sovereign's level 15.
And yeah, they're gonna get the Bartle down here, get the quick execute. Lulu ult not gonna save Shyvana here. So we're looking toward Kaba. Counter looking toward K3. Gonna chase in for a bit, but he doesn't want to hyper commit for it here. I don't think
Are you gonna save the
Vladimir
perfect
burns
game?
to death here. Yeah, I think they're definitely Garen not going for that kill gives me an eye that they might be aware of what's happening and trying to go for it at this point, because it feels like that's a world that Counter just runs the Vladimir down for fun, but decided not to.
I don't think he had his ult either. I think that's still coming off cooldown, just a couple of
Yeah.
seconds away. So not gonna overcommit when he can't guarantee the kill with an execute sword from the sky. Instead, they will turn their attentions to the Baron after taking another tier 2. 5 turrets now confirmed for the Crusaders, as this would be one hell of a closeout game, it has to be said. They are going to be a bit off tempo to head towards this Drake, going for the Quadra base, Quinta base, counter also dipping out there in the bot side river. So potential to interrupt this perfect game by taking away a Drake, but that is like bunting in the night to stop a perfect game.
And yeah, we'll have to see if
Go on,
anything
steal
is
it.
going to get turned. The dragon,
I
if
did.
it gets secure, there goes the perfect game. There it is. Perfect game officially lost. They have not done it.
Should have
As we'll
blast cone.
see now, they will be able to find a kill at least. You could get some very small benefits here. Again, 0 deaths, 0 turrets lost. Still, in some categories, can be considered.
Counter's
But
ending
we'll
the
see
game.
a moment here. He's certainly trying to in the top lane as a Sovereign. Could take a death here. He's 1v5 in the middle of the enemy team as Viego, but unfortunately on the
He's Viego.
Vladimir, that's a double kill for him. That'll be Caitlyn shutting one down. Kava goes down. Triple kill for Sovereign. Eshvar back full HP. Garen is indeed still ending the game top lane as we get the teleport coming in from Sunny D Swag. And the expectation, that's just going to be it here. 22 minutes in a very, 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 very anticlimactic ending to our semifinals. We've had some back and forth games. We've had some dominations. We've had some upsets, but nothing quite like this. 19 kills to 0. As Yules says, think how cool Game 7 would be. You should FF, but it is going to be the game cleaned up here at 22:30ish. We'll get the Rift Herald dancing here in the ending tags as well as we'll get the game closed up. And well done, 19 kills to 0. The only thing they lost was one dragon, one flash smite for Viego away from securing a perfect game to eliminate an opponent in the SDC semifinals, but didn't happen. They steal the dragon. They secure the dragon away, steal it from under their nose, and that is going to be closed out here. Not the most interesting finale game of a series we've ever seen, but you know what? Fair play to the Crusaders. They got what needed to be done. They used the perks to slam it home after the upset in game number 5, so fair play to them.
Yeah, and deserved winners as well, I think, based on just how they played today. Yesterday didn't all go their way. They won game one in a quite solid fashion. Wasn't the simplest of games. Both their junglers were moot deaf for that one. Game two, they heavy low pointed. They shut out 62 against 131 in a vanilla, and that's just great tactically to set you up for the rest of the series because now you have that advantage to carry through. You play a lot of your tier 3s and tier 4s, while the other team are picking tier 1s and tier 2s. You're going to carry that advantage through for game 3, game 4, game 5, and of course, we got to that game 6. They would have had an advantage, well, let's not forget, in game 7, they'd have had Fiery, Sovereign, Sunny D, Dynamic, and Zap. Like that would have been effectively like 3 tier 1s playing in the game 7 if we're counting Zap in that category. I think he's there or thereabouts, so he can at least deserve that shout. Like they played this so very well from an overall perspective in terms of how they set themselves up, not just for individual games, but as a unit for the whole series. And I mean, game 5 really was the kicker. Even if they lose that game, I still think they have a great chance overall because you look at what we just saw there in game 6, pointing out, yet again, they play 126 versus 110, versus 100 rather, with a massive perks that they have used to their advantage. And then, as I say again, game 7, they'd have had a humongous roster where Brown Clover wouldn't have even had a tier 1 left to throw into a must-win game for both sides. It's a masterclass in roster selection, and it's a masterclass in overall gameplay, and I think he's already ended the stream.
Yes. Regardless, we'll have to wait and
Yeah, you
see. It
already
looks
rated
like
out.
it was just a rage, still going, but regardless, did it actually fall over at full instance?
I clicked back into the stream and I can watch the stream again, but you did raid out. So some people just disappeared and left us. But
Well, for people who are still here, we thank you all for joining us. Maybe slight scuff of the end, but no problems here. Thank you all for joining us. Go enjoy the raid. That we'll wish the best of luck to both teams in the other semifinals as they complete up their series over there. But for us here on stream at the SDC semifinals, that will be it. Of course, we will be back next week for Le Grand Finale to see who will take home the season 24 crown. But for us today for the week, thank you for joining us for the semifinals. We appreciate you all joining, and we'll see you again next week to see who takes it all.